Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you're tuning in this week. Want to welcome you to a special edition of the Brews and Views podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Griffin. A little different take of Brews and Views this week as we are transitioning into a new era, a season 2, if you will, of the Brews and Views podcast. Running solo in the Brews and Views studio this week as we are working through the updates for our newest addition to the podcast. As you may have heard us talk about on some recent episodes of Brews and Views, we are going to be on YouTube next week. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Brews and Views podcast is going to be making their YouTube debut next week. Hopefully on Thirsty Thursday, fingers crossed, barring any technical difficulties, of course. But we just want to take a moment this week to personally thank all of you out there for listening, tuning in, subscribing, interacting with us on our social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, in any of our Apple or Spotify podcast platforms. We just appreciate all of the feedback and the time that you take each week to listen to Jeff and I have a craft beer or two, have some good conversation, and really just get to provide this type of episodic entertainment content that we are able to do for each and every one of you every week. It is something that Jeff and I have enjoyed doing thus far in our first handful of episodes, and we are very excited for a new era of Brews and Views podcast as we go to YouTube next week, and we are able to record live from the Brews and Views studio and bring that content to you on YouTube as well. Just providing that additional platform, however you like to watch your podcast every week, whether it be through listening through the car audio, watching on YouTube, whatever your preference is. We want to make sure that we are providing that for you here at the Brews and Views podcast, Tales of the Sea and the City. Of course, we couldn't do it without all of your support, your feedback, and just your general interest in our podcast. So again, we say it every week, but thank you all, each of you. If Jeff were here with me, I know he would agree and say the same thing, that we appreciate all of you for tuning in every single week. We hope that we continue to entertain you as we move forward with the YouTube edition of our podcast. And of course, we will continue to be releasing new audio episodes on Apple and Spotify podcasts as well every Thirsty Thursday. But we're going to give you an inside look as to the crazy antics that Jeff and I do while recording our podcast every week. You know, we try to keep it as uncut and unedited as possible. We're going to show you what we truly mean by that when we debut our first episode on YouTube next week. So be sure, if you haven't subscribed to us already on any of our social media platforms, YouTube is the exact same handle. It's the Brews and Views Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube. That's the Brews and Views Pod on all social media platforms. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, leave us some comments. Let us know what you think of our episodes every week. You know, we enjoy that feedback as well. But honestly, we just appreciate the listens every week. We couldn't do it without you guys. So we will see you all on YouTube next week, the Brews and Views Pod. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a great time. You're going to get some good laughs. We thoroughly enjoy recording these episodes every single week, and you're going to get to see that when we debut on YouTube next week. So again, be sure to follow us on the Brews and Views Pod. Subscribe, get ready, because Brews and Views Season 2 is happening right next week. And as always, cheers, folks.